Incoming message coming from the 588.
Good morning, recruits. Welcome to hell.
This is basic training. No one's supposed to die.
Wing Women is a semi-historical actual play podcast.
Have you pissed anyone off recently?
No one I can think of. While I run through the bulleted indexed list of people we've pissed off in the last couple of days.
They endure discrimination from their male counterparts.
All of your beds have been carried out of the nurse's station and placed in the middle of the jogging track.
I don't think it was Ivan. He's weak.
Against this bitter setting, our four motley heroines gain the chance to experience queer joy, gender euphoria, and equality for the first and perhaps the only time in their lives.
How obvious am I being?
See, I've kind of always thought that there is a level to some of us in this barracks that's visible.
Have you been using the word shenanigans?
I've been experimenting.
Where did you learn that word?
Until the next mission, this is us, signing off.
5 GMs in a Trench Coat is back, and this time with Season 3, as GM Tanlin uses Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition for her story.
Imagine the stench of fear, of sweat and of blood, cold stone beneath your palm as you feel your way down an impossibly dark and endless hallway. Here there's as much fear as there is isolation, and as much hopelessness as there is violence, or at least fantasies of it.
Join Callan Omoris Caldwell, played by Adam Gonzalez, Reen Sato, played by Kim Siyuki, 2.5 Horns, played by Jesse Espinoza, and Onder Madison, played by Tanner Sherlock, as they navigate the kingdom of Miltant and the horrors that await them.
So you guys hear, like, an alarm bell, like, fucking, all the doors go, shadunk, and then you also hear, like, coming from the ceiling.
5 Gems in a Trench Coat is a TTRPG actual play podcast where 5 friends take turns weaving stories through the tabletop game of their choice each season, with new episodes out every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
We are in Silent Hill. It was just a joke before.
Welcome back to Tabletop, everyone. We are in our month of October.
We are in our bullshit.
Yeah, we're deep in our bullshit.
So deep.
And we're at the end of the month, and we've been working on one-shot stuff for everyone to look at and think about while they're making their Halloween one-shot. But today, we're so close to Halloween anyway that we decided that instead we're just going to review Honey Heist. Ooh, are you Barry ready for this? How many bear puns can we fit in? Remember the bear episode where we did that? Got like 60 bear references in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was I there? I don't think I was there.
Well, I think it may have just been you and Rio.
Oh, really?
It was like it was an under the bed kind of thing.
In the early days.
Yeah, no, today, any of the puns are just the ones of necessity.
These picnic baskets are full of bear.
It's happening. All right, so we played Honey Heist. Shade, why don't you talk us in a little bit about what Honey Heist is?
Hey,
he was the bear keeper.
I was the bear master, I think they call it.
The zookeeper.
So, I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably have seen someone play Honey Heist. You probably maybe have played it yourself, but in case you haven't, this is a one-pager that was done by Grant Howitt way back in the distant year of 2017, with thanks to All Out of Bubblegum, 316, and weirdly Polaris. So this was it's a one-shot kind of idea, one-page TTRPG. The rules are very simple. It's HoneyCon, and you are going to undertake the greatest heist the world has ever seen. 2 things. 1, you have a complex plan that requires precise timing. And 2, you are a goddamn bear. And your stats are pretty simple. You either are rolling on bear, which encompasses any kind of
bear
activities like mauling, running, climbing, shrugging off damage, scaring people, and generally doing bear stuff. or you're rolling criminal, which is used for anything that isn't covered by the bear stuff. So it's mechanically very simple, but it has some complexity
we got it
to
wrong.
it. Yeah, well, we did. we did. Initially, we did. And then we figured it out. Thank you, Franco, for, I think, being the one to really discover that.
Yeah. It was. It's funny. It's like, it's a really simple mechanic that we totally fucked up at first.
It is. There's more complexity than you might think, but it is still pretty simple.
It's very elegantly designed, though.
And it's kind of like a family of this type of game too, where it's like you roll d6 and you try to roll equal or under to
whatever your
stat.
Is. Yeah.
And then whether you fail or succeed, one of those stats go up. And then once you're at that maximum stat, something happens.
Yeah, and in this case, if you're
the game ends for you, basically.
Yeah. If you get to a 6 on the bear, you leave to become a rampaging bear that is eventually taken to the zoo or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other side.
Well, you don't leave; you just rampage.
Yeah, you just rampage. And then the other side is criminal. And if the heist is going too well, then you just become enticed by a life of crime and betray the crew and leave, which is also very funny. So it's elegant in that whenever something happens really successfully for the plan, you become more criminal, and when something frustrates you, like you fail at something, you become more bear. So it kind of gets to a point where you are trying to
be at a state of equilibrium.
Yeah, you're trying to screw up enough that you don't go all full criminal and leave, but you need the successes too so that you don't go full bear.
Yeah.
And since it gets harder and easier to succeed on those checks as you succeed or fail respectively, you can it kind of balances itself out.
Yeah.
However, we found ourselves many times in the game being like, okay, if I succeed this roll, I'm gone. Like I become a criminal and I leave, or whatever it is.
Or if I fail, I become bear.
Yeah.
I think also that's kind of the only set of stats. Like that, there's
one other stats.
Yeah. Well, you also said shrugging off damage. Yeah. And that is like something that. Like there's no hit points or anything like that. Yeah,
no.
It's just story led. Yeah.
This is very much a game that isn't meant to be serious in any way, shape, or form. So death or something like that isn't really part of the story. But there is one other stat, because I said this is a one-pager. It has evolved ever so slightly, as these things do.
A 3-pager?
Into technically a 3-pager, because now it's been separated for ease of reading into a page for player as a page for the game master. And then one other page, which is going to have some details about your HBS, your human believability score, I believe it is.
Oh, you also can't speak language.
Oh, yeah.
You're a bear, man.
You are just a bear. You're just a bear. You may be able to kind of mimic or mock human language, but you need to. The GM will roll 4d6 to determine how believable as a person you are, and that's affected by your disguise, essentially.
Yeah, which you randomly roll at the beginning to see what your bear is wearing, what sort of thing they found in the Goodwill pile kind of thing. This game is so fucking fun. From the beginning, creating the character was great. I love rolling on those tables. It allows you to not be so focused on creating the right character. It's more like these are bears and you should just roll because it's all random anyway. And one of my favorite things on the bear sheet that they give you is that they give you a portrait of the type of bear you are, whether you're a grizzly bear, a honey badger, a panda bear, all the things. They have a select, I think 6 of them, and they have a sheet for each of those. And what we did is all just sort of draw what our bears were wearing and all the things that happened during the game onto the sheet. That was amazing. That was just such a little detail that they didn't have to put in, but I'm so glad they did.
The game evolving.
Yeah.
I remember first hearing about this game, and I was kind of how could you sustain a session?
Fun. Yeah.
Yeah, how could you sustain a session doing this? And we were able to. I think it's a lot of, what Shade rolled earlier on, for the scenario stuff was really simple, right? It was 2 things.
Yeah. So GM can roll a has their own little things of roles. They're going to set the scenario with these random tables, a convention organizer, where the convention is being held, what an an additional prize is, some security features, and then a secret twist that the bears will have to deal with at some point.
Yeah, and the way that we played, so Shade was Bear Master or whatever. Yeah. Franco, myself, and a couple of other people were the bears, and we went in without the planning stage. We just decided we're not doing.
Well, I don't think there's really.
There isn't.
You're not really supposed to plan.
Yeah. Right.
I think
Which is amazing the way that it worked out.
The other mechanic that is in here, right? Like if you like the failing or succeeding on being more bear or more criminal or whatever, like that happens through rolls, but it also happens through actions. If you eat honey, you become more bear. If you flash back to when you were planning the heist, you become more criminal. And I remember when I first read that as well, like forever ago, like I like everybody, whenever this came out, like everybody was like, oh my God, look, Honey Heist.
2017.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. Just throwing the date in there. I thought it'd be funny.
And so, whenever it was that I read this, it's just like, I was like, oh, like the idea of flashbacks, I guess in general, like as a game mechanic, have never really appealed to me.
Yeah.
But it was very effective, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it helped that in our particular flashbacks, you all seized on creating an entirely other narrative about a small family where the two parents and two children, where it was eventually revealed that the two parents are secretly having affairs with other people or about to have affairs with other people.
She was justified. He was garbage.
Do not love each other. The man absolutely sucks. She's trying to escape. And it may be that their children aren't actually their children, but in fact, bears in disguise.
Also bears, yeah.
Yeah.
Very funny. And also, so there was this, because every time we flash back, we would basically get the less fun stuff out of the way immediately and be like, and we were talking about
the less fun stuff.
We're like,
the game.
Yeah, we were like at the table, we're like, and so like after this happens, we're gonna have to fly like one of the ships over here to make this happen.
We would be justifying what we were about to do by saying that it was all according to plan the whole time, which is very funny.
Yeah, and also, then we would also keep continuity by flashing over to the other people and talking about what we heard from them.
I think that part was really fun because I think it felt like we had made it a rule in the game. Yeah. Like it was like a house rule that it's like, oh, but don't forget to whatever. Yeah. Like we all kept saying, it was like, oh yeah, don't forget to like, you've justified the action or whatever, but don't forget you need the
and one of the things that came out of that too is that like we had a big whiteboard available to us, so we were drawing the map so that we could picture what was happening, like because it was this big parking lot we were robbing. And what we would do is we had this like side thing of like what we were justifying about the family. So we wrote down all the things that we found out about them, but we were also just tracking what our plan was on the map, and looking back at the end was so fun just to be like, what the fuck does this mean? It was like
all according to plan.
And all the plan was like at the end of it was, all right, drive a car into this. All right, steal a car and then drive it into this. Steal another car and drive it into this.
So what I do love about this, and a big part of why in addition to we just ran this, I was kind of like, yeah, sure, let's definitely talk about it. Just ran it yesterday. Yeah. But let's talk about it for October episodes because, hey, we're releasing this, and today is, for you, dear listener, October the 28th, and the spooky day is in just 3 days. Maybe you didn't plan something for your Halloween. This game actually does work because just swap some words. Instead of honey, it's candy heist.
Yeah.
And,
that's so good.
And
you're all kids.
And you're all
you're
kids.
still bears.
You can still be bears. I do like that. You're still bears.
You're bears dressed up as trick-or-treaters.
Correct. Because that's what they like. There's a whole disguise element to this.
That's so fun.
There's a whole disguise element to this. Yeah. So will they figure out that you are actually kids just being kids?
And then you roll on the thing, and then whatever you have to justify what your costume is that you are dressed up as. has with like the randomly.
And one of you is a fucking grizzly bear. Oh, that's a child? Okay.
Whoa.
Is this game Creative Commons?
Candy Heist.
No, we're just gonna make Candy Heist. Yeah, fuck it. We're just make Candy Heist.
But the other thing about this game that was so fun was that it wants you, even when you fail, things that are very fun happen, which is great. But when you are succeeding, it is so silly.
Yeah.
Like, because you are a bear. So it's like, I mean, at one point, my bear was a honey badger who was the driver, and so I kept having to get into these cars. I'm like, a bear doesn't know how to drive, but I was like, when they escaped the zoo, he flipped down the sun shield and found the keys.
That's his only move,
and so that's why he's the driver. Is he's like, I know how to like find the keys to this car.
I just boom, and then when I put it into this, it goes boom.
Yeah,
it's very fun.
Yeah, very silly. And the big important thing about this game is, like any game of its type, is it's huge about the yes and. You've got to yes and everything here. I think there was one moment where I went no but to you, or no, I don't want to, but I have this other idea. And it was strictly just because we were trying, it was because of our side story bullshit. And I was like, I don't like that justification because I do have something else in mind real quick.
Nick just really runs away with shit. He's just like, could I completely steamroll everything and just win this right now?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing for me is that, with narrative or like cinematic games, I'll say, which I think Honey Heist is.
Oh yeah,
it is sort of like it is hard to find where to stop to shift the thing because you're like, and then this is just happening, and then I need to do this, and then it's okay, we're gonna go over here for a little bit.
Yeah, there was a moment where you described something. You had already rolled criminal. We knew you were gonna succeed. But the description was like, I almost want there to be more roles here, but no, you just do this.
Yeah.
And
was it you like
when he parachuted?
Oh yeah. This was a parking lot of spaceships.
Yeah.
So that's how we were parachuting, and there were bee people that were in all this. Honey was in all the ships. It's very important. But yeah, it's very fun and also like so silly because the modifiers you can get, like we've already talked about the flashbacks to the planning sessions to get more criminal, but if you just eat a boat of honey, like just a ton of honey, you become more bear, which I think that's really funny as well.
A little bit of honey, you're a bear. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot more to the game than that. It's super silly. It requires zero setup as well, which is, I think, just very good. Another game that this kind of reminded me of is because it's kind of in a similar vein. You Awaken in a Strange Place, done by Tummy Boy Jacob from the Drawfree crew. It's very much on the fly. Don't prepare. Simple stats, D6s. Just have some fun.
Yeah.
And I think that really we were able to capture that very easily because I also always have some worries about will we be able to yes and enough on this, and I'm very comfortable yes anding generally speaking, or just kind of coming up with something on the fly, but leaning into the silliness of this is such a necessity.
Yeah, it's because like this is the thing.
Is it a bear necessity?
Yes, a bear necessity.
This is the thing that that Franco you talked about a little bit ago was that like, and even during the session you were like, I can picture this all in my head so clearly, and I think that's where some of the joy of this comes because it's like we're using.
Well, some of us thought it was day and some of us thought it was night.
That's true, but the thing that was so funny to me was like. We started our game in a diner. That's where the planning was taking place. So the planning was before we started kind of thing. So we're doing stuff, but immediately it was like, oh, wait, you're a grizzly bear and you're a panda bear. Like, how are you fitting in this diner booth?
Yeah.
And that became a whole thing of like how we were like slowly trying to get out and like breaking the table. And like we were all drinking coffees at this thing and racked up a $37 bill. And it's like, how did we do that without being able to talk to them?
Well, we just pointed at the menu. Yeah, I think a huge part of the joy of the game is just like imagining and describing with each other what it is like to be a bear. Like what is like, wait, so how does this work? It's like, oh yeah, you're a bear and so you whatever. It's like, how does this work? And it's like, well, because you're a bear, this, and this.
Yeah.
And it's also just great because like it gives you a little, because you also roll for like a describer for your character. So like mine was an unhinged honey bear, honey badger, and the honey badger's like special skill that you get to roll extra dice if you say like I'm doing this was slaughter or something like
Carnage.
that. Carnage.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And so like there were multiple times where I was like my honey badger takes off his shades and says like it's go time or whatever, and then just starts fucking going nuts.
Yeah, my black bear was retired, and so like it was just like always I'm getting too old for this shit. They always pull me back in, etc.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Well, and I like.
Oh, he's also a hacker, and so every time I got the hack in,
bear.
it's just like I'm in.
Yeah, and so those because your bear type and your role, like the hacker, will determine a specialty. So like if it was something related to computers and Franco's character wanted to do something, he got to roll 2d6, take the lowest, so advantage. And similarly with being a black bear rather, he had the climb ability, so he gets anything that's climbing related, he gets to roll 2d6 again. And what I liked especially about ours is the variability of a d6 is enough that you probably actually won't have much, if any, duplicates with a small enough group. And we genuinely did not a single repeat in any of this.
Yeah.
But I was kind of interested
Even
to
down
see
to like clothes and stuff.
even down, yeah.
Yeah, none of us had the same anything. It was really weird.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it makes sense from a probability standpoint, but it does feel. There's 4 of us playing, or 4 of you playing, and
What are the odds?
You know,
what are the odds? I don't know.
1 out of 6? No.
What are the odds of all of us getting the same outfit?
Probably. Oh, that's like 1 in 24. 1 in 24.
Oh.
I'm gonna say that sounds correct. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because we'd all have to like match.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's the matching that is the
right.
Yeah.
The big thing for me too is like the variability was very fun. The variability. But like the thing that was so great about it was very much like when you showed us some OSR games where we rolled our characters, like you were ready to go from the second you sit down. So you just like roll a bunch of D6, circle what that means, and then you're like, I have to make a quick character out of this. I write a name down, and then I have all my attributes already decided for me, and then I can just get to play. So especially if this Halloween you're trying to do a game with people who are not TTRPG players, this is such an amazing game to get them started on, because you can just sit them down, have them roll 4d6, go through, show them what that means, and then you're ready to start. It's like, okay, easy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and again, just make it stealing candy, make them dress up as kids, and you'll have a wild candy heist.
Yeah,
candy heist.
And you can have like just like the twist that you roll can happen at like, you know, the rich street or something where they're doing full size candy bars.
Yeah, because you could absolutely, like, you as a GM do not need to roll on the tables specifically. I made some small changes, although they were very, very small. But, you know, we were in a spaceship parking lot. It wasn't just a regular RV convoy or something like that. I forget.
And the guards were like bee elves kind of thing.
Bee elves, right. So, you know, you could add your own little variances to it easily.
So let's talk a little bit about player experiences and GMs, like do's and don'ts, right after this break.
You've lived a sinner's life. Now you've died a sinner's death.
The first heartbreak is how good it felt to be enveloped in something that didn't hurt. I don't care if it was dark, it was still mine for a moment. I'm so tired.
What goes through your mind as you float through this day after day, night after night?
I should have done more.
I've suffered worse storms than this in my bloody sleep. Give me your all, I say! Come on!
Stay with me, Lord, because I am weak, and I need your strength, that I may not fall so often.
Starting November 4th on Game Master Monday, Climb aboard the worthy Mapple, sail the Stygian Sea, brave the depths of hell, and find salvation in our next Game Master Monday miniseries, Hell Whalers. Available everywhere you enjoy podcasts.
Welcome back to Tabletop. We are talking Honey Heist. Before the break, we ended talking a little bit about how we were going to start speaking on the do's and don'ts of this game. I think that for me, the thing that I would really, really suggest as players is just, it's like a very classic Powered by the Apocalypse thing of just say what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then the bear keeper or whatever can then like figure out how to work that together. It's very collaborative, and I would say that on the other side, as the keeper or whatever, to say yes to as much as you can, just because of the nature and the silliness of the game. But what do you guys think? Do you think that's on track?
Yeah, sure. I believe in sort of conversational role playing where you're just like we're like, oh, just like as little as few dice rolled and as little referring to your character sheet as possible.
Yeah.
Is always like, it's like that's where a lot of the fun happens, because if you're just talking, then you know that you're like, oh, this is where we're being creative in the conversation.
Yeah.
And anytime you have to stop and look at your character sheet or stop and roll a die or whatever, it's like it feels like everything kind of grinds to a halt to do that. But I think in a quick resolution system like this, where it's kind of like, okay, let's keep talking until something is doubtful, like until something can be in doubt. I think that's like just a really, really useful way to play any game. I think it's I think once you strip down as many rules as possible, like this game does, where it's just one mechanic, I think that is when you can kind of be like, oh, why do we need all this shit? And then you start falling down into the FKR rabbit hole, the Free Kriegspiel revival rabbit hole, and you're just like, oh, what if we didn't play with any dice at all?
What if we didn't play? What if we just talked to each other and told stories?
What if we had only the GM rolls dice? I think is usually how it goes. Yeah. But I don't know enough about that style of play to talk about it. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that's probably as close as I'll ever get to playing that type of game. Is like, okay, just bears.
Yeah. I mean, Shade, would you say, as the person who ran the game for us,
the keeper of bears,
that you essentially, because what it felt like to me was that you would listen until you in your brain would be like, how would a bear do that? And that was when you had us roll.
That's and from my perspective as a GM, I mean, you guys did great. I always, whenever we play these kinds of more loosey, only roll when something is in question, which arguably is every TTRPG to an extent. I at some point realize I have called for too many. I've called for too many rolls here, and I need to really lay off. But it's a real fine balance, because at the same time I was about to say sometimes I feel like I called for too many things for Dread, but also I definitely didn't call for enough polls at Dread.
I think honestly the only thing I would have thought that you could call more would be the human believability score rolls.
Yeah,
because I feel like that is the way for the GM to create stakes, in a specific way. We didn't need that because we were fucking doing crazy shit.
Yeah, that was the thing. I couldn't. There wasn't like a lot of chances. That's why I tried to throw it in a couple times here and there, but you all just set off on carnage so quickly that.
What did you think of that mechanic? Because to me, it seemed like it was. Was it a later edition, or is it like
a later edition? It was
by the same creators, or
as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Okay.
It's sold in the packet with which you can get this on my gosh,
drive-through.
Thank you. I was like, I know I go there a lot. The drive-through, and it is a pay what you want model. So throw them a few bucks. Yeah. Do that.
It's definitely worth like whatever you can afford to spend, because it is just such a tight system.
Which also includes 0.
Yep, which does include zero.
Which
does include zero.
But I would definitely like go there, and if you have a little bit of cash to throw, even if it's $1, I think that it's worth paying for. The other thing I would say is like, I think the human believability score probably was added in because I think that most first games is probably going to go the ways ours went, which was just very chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if people keep coming back to this system, they're probably like, we were already talking at the end of like, what if it was like a skyscraper and we had to get to the top of the skyscraper and it was full of people? So then the human believability score probably becomes way more important if you're actually trying to do something like...
I do think if we had played with just more people around in general, it would have been fine. But the moment that the mask comes off is when the carnage starts to come out, and then it's kind of hard to put
you don't put that back in a bottle.
So, I will say also, I don't know that I could ever see anyone coming back to the game
really?
in the sense of like this is a one shot machine. I will play it again.
That's what I play it again. Okay, I guess like the players being familiar with the system and coming back, not the characters. But the characters, like by the end, are either turning into bears or criminals, or they're just like succeed on this heist and then they retire.
I guess I was more curious. Like, what did you think about? Did that mechanic feel clunky to you? The human believability role.
A little bit, like it wasn't terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I think I placed a human believability role too early. And that was one of the things that I'm pretty sure, or at least I think that's what set it off in the diner, as I rolled some HBSs.
Yeah. The park ranger that was in there was like, "Wait, are you guys bears?"
No, actually, hold on.
I think it was much later.
It was a stealth thing.
It was because we were trying to get out of the booth.
Yeah,
we were just trying to get out of the booth, and they were like,
"Oh, was that it?" And then
it was
the park ranger clocked us or something. Because I remember that I had to dig through his chest.
So, but by contrast, I should have probably done an HBS there.
Yeah.
So that may have like caused things to be a little bit different. But that's when some chaos just unhinged, and I think it still went well. But
I guess the human believability score is kind of a stand-in for stealth.
It can be, but I think you can also use criminal for stealth.
Yeah,
right?
I guess so, because that's what you.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I think the clunkiness of it for me felt like, when do you use this?
Yeah,
I think that was like kind of what seemed like unclear to me. Is like, at what point does this come into effect?
So it really should be coming into effect when you are interacting with a person, a human, in such fashion that they have enough time to really kind of
look at you,
realize that you're a bear.
So I guess when it would have, I mean, we didn't make any of these choices, but like, for example, remember when you were outside that booth and you went in there and like bared them out, but if you had gone in there and been like, sat at a computer and started typing, and they were like, "Who are you?" and you'd like turn around and like give them like a bear salute, then maybe it's like, okay, we're gonna roll a human believability score to see if they think that you're actually someone who works here.
Yeah, it does feel a little. Well, I guess it's not, but it sometimes feels a little bit like roll to walk or like roll to climb stairs or something like that. Like it
definitely is.
It feels that way, even though it's technically not, because you are just trying to. You're trying to be like, I'm climbing stairs, but I want you to think that I'm swimming across a lake.
Yeah. Originally, the idea was that. So like the way it's kind of phrased in the sheets is that you can don this outfit, and when a human sees you in this outfit,
we were always just in the outfit.
You were just always in the outfits, which I think is a better use of it.
Yeah,
like
honestly, why would you not be in the outfits?
A way that you could use it that is passive, so it doesn't stop to roll or something, is just you collect all of the human believability scores at the beginning, and then you could just have like a running thing of like, okay, you walk into this room, you're wearing a pink tutu, and you have, highlighter yellow mittens on. You have a 10 on your human believability score. You walk into this room and just the bear keeper is like, okay, their human believability score is low, this means that they immediately recognize them. Versus if someone's at like a 20 or something, that's like they look at you kind of like questioning. Here's some narrative power back. What do you do next?
What if it's more like a spendable resource?
Ooh, that could be fun too. Yeah.
But I don't even know how you would spend it though.
I mean, I guess you could just
like what does it mean to spend it?
Yeah. I mean, it could just be that like as soon as you commit an action that is either criminal or bear,
have to
in the outfit, then it's useless.
You must spend it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could do something like that, and then so that you can actually wait to kick off the chaos a little bit longer if you wanted to.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of different ways you can take.
Maybe it works fine as is. I don't know.
But it definitely is one of the clunkier parts because it's a whole other role.
You have to add everything.
Yeah, you have to add everything.
You have to add 4 die.
Yeah,
which is like not like I know you can add, but it's kind of like
can I?
Accessibility. We've been talking about it a lot this month.
Yeah, because it's otherwise such a simple game. Yeah. But now you have to add 4 numbers.
Yeah.
And you don't know what those numbers are going to be.
I mean, any other like either as players or as the bear keeper, like what is like a thing to just kind of keep in your back pocket of like I need to anchor myself to this to have a good time.
Just yes and everything.
Yeah.
You know, like there is nothing too big, nothing too silly for this game. Do not try and ground it.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be grounded.
Yeah, it was so funny that it was sort of a mix of like, yakety sax, but also it actually did have like a little bit of, we were joking that it was like swordfish or something when we were there. But there was a little bit of that in there because like one of the thing at the end was that the honey pot exploded because that's what you rolled like secretly. And like 2 of the bears died.
Right, which was brought back to life.
Which was very funny. It was like very silly, very bear. But it was also, had like a little bit of heist stuff in there too. I just think that like the marriage of the ridiculous and the like, because heists are cool. You know what I mean? It's like, suave con people like at the top of their game. And someone said like, what if you did that, but you were a bear?
Yeah, because even the way that the sort of the, I guess for lack of a better word, move where you flash back, it's like described as like you flash back to, like flashback to when you guys planned this heist over cigarettes and coffee or something like that. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was
in
also
like a seedy back room, like back of a bar.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You're heisting. You're criminals. You're hardened criminals, but also bears.
But and like we played with that too. Like when we did a flashback, we were all doing that stuff and we're all like drinking coffee at this diner after we'd broken out of the zoo. And like your character went to the bathroom and came back and had like Charmin like toilet paper hanging off of its foot. And it's like just like that's so stupid but very funny.
Yep. Very believable.
Absolutely.
Very bear.
I would say this is also a nice game, for every TTRPG you play in your life, steal something from it. Steal this flashback thing. It's definitely applicable to other games. You're definitely running heists at some point in your basic D&D game or
if
whatever.
If you ever want to do a one-shot heist, this is the way to do it. Yeah. Like that flashback mechanic, because otherwise you're going to spend a whole session planning. You're going to do all this stuff. This just allows you to do stuff, and then, like you said, like very often during the game, Franco would just turn to us and go, all part of the plan.
Yeah. I mean, in retrospect, I regret that we didn't have the time back in our heist when Keys to the Golden Vault came out.
Yeah.
We should have just taken the time to play this, but we didn't have the 3 hours or whatever to do it. So.
The other thing, though, too, is like this game can be an hour long or it can be 4 hours long. It really depends on what kind of experience you want. Like
Depends on how good you are at heisting.
Yeah, but also like if a GM's like, I got an hour, like you said, you can just throw out rolls very infrequently and just let them have a crazy time as bears.
Yeah, we've done some Extra Life stuff, which it occurs to me, I don't know how that's going to work this year.
Yeah, but they actually are not doing it anymore as a company.
Okay.
Now that I'm not part of it.
Now that Nick's not there.
Wow.
Okay.
They don't care about cancer or kids.
Damn.
But I've done some things for Extra Life a few times, and I've run similar games to this. this is perfect for that kind of thing. I mean, it's
oh my god, yeah.
You know, I've only ever had like it maybe 3 hours for the games that I've had to run for the Extra Life stuff. I would run this every time going forward.
Also, there's like great moments of like when Jackie was trying to get I think it was like get the plane that we were in off the ground or something, or open it up or something. Yeah. And it was like a tense moment because we had to get out of there because we were kind of getting closed in by like mech suits and bees with guns and all this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then she was going to like panda roll into it to break it down. And you were like, if you don't succeed in this, you go full bear and you're done. Yeah. Like you're gone. And so it has these like kind of like, again, all funny, but tense moments of like, oh shit. Like
I love Jackie so much. She will sometimes just make these gambles that I'm just like, my God. And without
make it roll.
fail, she almost always gets it. Almost always hits the number she needs to.
That's why she probably does it.
Yeah. Because she needed a 5 at most, and she got a 5.
Yeah.
So
it was wild.
Yeah.
It is a very fun experience too as a spectator. Like at any given time, because it's a heist, you're all probably responsible for different things. So you're going to be passing the screen time around. However, it's just fun to listen to what other people are doing. And so you can always just kind of be part of it that way. Very much in opposition to a lot of heist games that I've played in, D&D or something, where it doesn't actually feel fun to spectate at certain points. Honey Heist always was fun to spectate, I think.
Why do you think those other ones weren't?
I think it's because of the inherent absurdity of this. You know what I mean? So it's just like, what could possibly happen next? Whereas in a game that is a little bit more serious, a little bit more just the heist, none of the bear, you're like, I kind of know what's going to happen next. Either they're going to succeed and get into this room and there's probably going to be something inside, or not, and they'll have to run away or something. In this case, it was like either you succeed in rolling down a door, or you fail and you become a true, like, just you bear out completely and are a rampaging bear. Like, that is a completely different sort of thing to wrap my head around. It becomes much more interesting.
Which the fail forward for that would have been she failed and the rage overtook her bear, and the bear literally plows through the door, still opening the space for you all.
But also now is destroying the inside of a ship. You know what I mean? There's like, it's just very fun. It's very intuitive to play as well. Yeah. Any other final thoughts on Honey Heist?
No.
If you do Candy Heist, let us know how that goes. Go to maybe join us on Discord or something like that.
Go to candyheist.com or we'll have it ready for you to play.
Go to tabletopppod.com. You can send us a contact form if you want to tell us specifically about your Candy Heist. But you can also click that Discord button up in the corner and get into conversation with us. That'd be a lot of fun.
And obviously we say Candy Heist, meaning if you're playing it for Halloween, but I'd love to hear how it goes even if you don't play for Halloween and play the basic Honey Heist.
Yeah, it's very fun. We had a great time. Would you guys say that this is worth having on your shelf of, or your repertoire of TTRPGs?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I actually have supported this twice, maybe even 3 times, because occasionally I forget that I didn't. It was laziness.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I know I own it, but I'm not going to download it for free. I have the money. I'm going to give it to them.
Yeah.
So it's now on multiple devices because I didn't do my OneDrive across those devices, which I have since done because I realized I was being irresponsible.
So I would also agree. Grab it. It's like I said, or like you said, it's pay what you want. It is very easy to get onto your shelf for a very, very low cost. However, it also just is like, it's just what a great back pocket system. Yeah. It's sort of like Dread in a way of like, this is very simple. You pull a Jenga block out. It's like roll a d6. Like I actually, while we were playing, was like, I finally know how to get Alice to play a game of like some sort of TTRPG. Because it is all just fun, having fun with friends. It's a party game in some ways, and it has this one TTRPG mechanic.
If you just don't even say it's a TTRPG,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that's
how I'm
gonna.
Hey, I
want
to
play a board game.
Yeah, I'm gonna trick her into liking TTRPGs. What about you, Franco? What are your thoughts?
That would never work on Rebecca.
Oh, really?
Well, Rebecca doesn't like board games either.
She doesn't like games at all.
She would look at it and be like, "This feels like a game."
I think you're exactly right.
You should But hold on, you can be like, hey, I want to file my taxes. I've got this new tax form.
So if you were, well, I'm having a hard time processing my taxes this year. Let's just use bears as an example. Like, let's say that you're a grizzly bear, okay?
Yeah.
And you're helping me with my taxes.
And I'm getting taxed on all the honey that we purchased over the years.
Yeah. All right. Well, I would agree that this is a great game. Everyone should go try it, play it. Oh, tell us how it goes. It's going to be so fun to hear those stories. And everyone, we will see you next Monday for another episode of Tabletopped.